of those Ally McBeal kind of fantasy sequences where I thought if Joe just dropped like from 10 feet above the feature table, just smashed onto the table, and all the chips went flying and just said, shut up, and that would have made my level more
I
interesting.
feel bad because we're like, oh, I wish they would talk more, but I guess it's a case of be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Well, perhaps the good stroke bad news, depending on which side of the fence you fall, is that we have a brand new feature table for you. There you can see right now is who the chip leaders are. Jeffrey Hakim still top of the entire tournament with over 305,000. Liv Barry repping the UK, 220,000. Stefan, Gianluca, and Michael make up that top 5. We have a brand new feature table, and we can bring you those players now. It is Morten Mortensen, David Katai, Martin Lund, Benjamin Pollock, Patrick Antonius, Hideki Takafuji, Andres Maklakovs, and Alexandru Papazian. And you can see the big stack is Morten Mortensen, and the ever-attractive Patrick, don't call me potato head, Antonius in second spot.
That is going to be the highlight of this table, I think. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, poker doesn't need new stars. The old ones are just fine. Like, everyone be perfectly happy to watch Patrick Antonius and, God rest his soul, Devilfish, and Doyle Brunson and Daniel and all the people that we've been watching since like 2002. We're perfectly fine with all those people still being at featured tables. There he is. A beautiful specimen of a man. My goodness. He could be on the cover of Playboy. It doesn't even matter. He does it for me.
Also, lots to remind you about. Don't forget, we've got our scoop competition going on. If you can win a hand in a scoop spin and go, boom us or send the winning hand to hashtag PSC win. Don't have to win the whole game, just a hand. We've got $309 scoop tickets to give away. We've got the bounty bonus coming up in about an hour and 10 minutes. There's going to be $150 bounty on myself, James, and Joe.
That's $150 each, my babies. Yeah.
So plenty to bring you. Also, we've now had the prize pool has been announced, 3.5 million euros. 143 players are going to get paid out. The min starts at 7,580 euros. Top prize just over €500,000.
Can I just say $500,000? Can we just say that?
But if you say over $500,000, just over $500,000, it makes it sound like it's way more than $500,000, even though it's like 800 quid on top.
Yeah, it's like me saying I'm over 5'10", though. I'm like 5'10.1.
Yeah, but when you're that hairy,
you look like you're trying to make it seem bigger. You know what I mean?
Like when you say you're 17 and a half years old.
Yeah.
Like why does that half?
Just be 17. Just be $500,000.
Anyway, there'll be some poker along shortly.
Okay, and see the camera here.
This camera here, it's actually not capturing your soul, it's just taking a picture.
In there. You put your cards in there. And you can
So my guess is Andrei Meklakovs. Although I recognize that name, he's maybe not been on a featured table before.
You're just about a fraction near.
What flag is that, Joe? This feels like...
the red, white, red?
Yeah, that feels like an unfamiliar flag to me.
It looks like a delicious piece of red velvet cake.
Cake. So here's from Cakeland.
Cakeland.
We'll actually confirm what nationality that is. And then we'll get some poker underway.
I like Monaco too because it's one of the few places that we get players from Japan.
Yeah.
With that guy a couple years ago, I don't want to butcher his name, but he was really fun. They have this like vacation week called Golden Week or something that usually happens while we're here in Monaco. They get some time off. They get to come
35.
Play poker. And action is underway. Benjamin Pollock raising under the gun. So we teach people how to... Koichi Nizaki, that was the guy's name.
Well, remember that just came to you, didn't it?
Not any of the producers helping me out there. Nope.
Well, as the poker's underway, I think we should welcome our first guest of the day. Not a big fan of mine, but I love her loads. Vanessa Seltz, welcome to the booth.
Thank you very much. I am a big fan of yours, Matt.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Look, we can't just say that and leave Vanessa twisting in the wind. There's a miscommunication where Vanessa said, I would like to be on the air when Joe is on the air because it's fun. And they were like, Vanessa can only be on the air with Joe. Matt, get out of the booth.
So we're exiling him from the country
Yeah.
temporarily.
So that's fine. I'm still going to invoice for all 5 days if that's right, Joe, but I'll catch up with you in London. You and James have a great time.
I apparently, by the way, have way more sway at PokerStars than I thought, and if I knew how much pull I had to get Matt fired, I would be using that for like much better things,
Yeah.
like
Way sooner than this,
you know,
right?
like the card runouts or something, getting better at card runouts, or I don't know.
At the very least, a hotel room upgrade or...
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, just having random innocent commentators just absolutely fired. I mean, get
Well,
home,
innocent.
and my dad would be like, "Well, what went wrong?" I went, "It's just one girl. She just, I don't know. I guess she just really didn't like my style, my accent. I don't know."
Why do you
are any of us really innocent though?
No. I mean,
He's definitely not innocent. The thing is, if you had said that, I'd be like, well, this is possible.
the funny thing is, when it was presented to us, we just kind of looked at each other and went, "Well, okay, I guess I'll just, you know."
It was just like, yeah, that makes a lot. That sounds totally reasonable.
Do you know what?
I definitely believe that happened.
I actually wasn't as insulted by the potential truth that you'd asked that. I was more disgusted that someone in the team didn't go, "No, I'm sorry, Vanessa, that's not on." that's an unreasonable request. The fact that you said it and somebody went, "Yeah, sure, we'll just get rid of him," it's like, well, thanks, guys.
And that's true. Like that did happen.
Yeah.
That really was what happened. Everyone just accepted that. Well, if she doesn't
I
like
mean, I
the
went
guy-
to bat for you a little bit.
Joe's like Switzerland.
A tiny bit.
He's saying he went to bat for me. He went to bat for you. I don't see
exactly.
any bats anywhere.
Well, the thing is, no one gives an F about my opinion on any subject whatsoever, so
That's
it
not
really
true.
doesn't
You've got
matter.
you've got at least 35 viewers here, right? Come on.
We do have some viewers.
No,
I
yeah.
think they're here for the poker, which is happening.
Yes.
Papazian
Let's talk about it.
makes it 4,000. Katai's in. Pollux, he's going to fold.
I'm
his
just
big
kidding, by
blind.
the way, not 35 viewers. There's a lot of viewers, and everybody tunes in because these are both wonderful commentators.
It's too late.
I'm not even being sarcastic. I'm very happy to be
Wow.
here.
That's a super complimentary all the time,
I'm-
even when there's not a microphone in front of her.
I don't even. There's levels upon levels of sarcasm, and I'm just gonna talk.
You
about
certainly
poker.
come to the right place for that.
Papazian here repping the year of Romania. And the year of the sneer.
I like Davidi's style. He just like very gingerly places the chips in front of him when he's making a bet.
And it's the exact opposite of what he's doing a lot of the time because he's crazy aggressive. So the fact that he is gently being aggressive, it's a nice
Right.
contrast.
Yeah, it works for him.
Well, though this hand is now underway and this level, don't forget, you've missed a fair bit already if you're only just tuning into us. Here's what happened. 329 players returned for day two. Some of the biggest names in the game, Daniel Negreanu, Jason Mercier, Antonius. And, of course, the boy LP all out there, sporting his new schnoz. One player made a brief appearance, was Barcelona 2015 champ, John Juanda. He was knocked out very first hand of the day when he took on Igor Kurganov. Bye-bye. But, of course, a ton of previous champs still here. Liv Bury and San Hussein. The other way around, Monte and Sebastian Malitz. And of course, last year's grand final champ, Jan Bendik, all still in with a shot.
So now if Hossein Ensan ever comes in, he
I
won't
know.
want to be in the booth with you.
I know. Said, oh, that's the guy that said my name around the wrong way.
I would like you to
want him
remove
out of
Brout
here.
and Matt from the booth, please.
It's how he appears in my phone. Story
So this
made.
is interesting that we're sitting. So I was actually sitting in this very situation last year on day two of the Monaco main event, formerly EPT, now PokerStars Championship. I was there last year, and Patrick was on my table. I actually had the table of death last year. I don't know if you remember. This was my. I pulled up a picture because I took a photo of it because it was so insane. This is on day two of a main event. My lineup at the table was Dominic Niche, Justin Bonomo, Fabrice Soulier, Patrick Antonius, Ben Phillips, who was unknown at the time, but he's apparently quite good regular, myself, Anthony Spinella, another unknown, and Martin Sedenia.
Is this last year you're talking about?
Yeah, last year on day two.
When you were on the feature table?
Yeah.
When I was a little unfair to you?
God, Joe, you're really just bringing up old things.
Well, no, look, I remember that about last year, but you had that table of death, but wasn't it one of the unknowns who knocked you out also?
No, I didn't get knocked out on the table.
Look, meanwhile,
Oh.
sorry to
Oh,
interrupt,
I remember,
but look,
yes.
meanwhile, we've got Benjamin is all in with his ace-king suited up against Patrick Antonius, dominating him with the ace-queen.
Blind versus blind situation. Those are ones where you're like, I guess he shoved in like 20 blinds and you're just like, or maybe he bet and Antonius went all in and he called. I mean, either way, but it's just like.
Morton Mortensen opened, and then Pollock shoved from the small blind.
Oh, okay.
Antonius called. The original raiser folded.
Got it.
Not looking good for Benjamin.
Just the 3 outs to save his tournament life.
Oh, he's got. What about chop? Chop routine.
True enough, yeah.
Isn't that your hold?
That was a listener who wrote that in, but yeah, we have stolen that for sure.
Yeah.
Does not happen. A very brief appearance at our feature table, but Benjamin Pollock is out of there.
That's unfortunate to see him go. He's a great player. He's a lot of fun to watch. I think he's always in there. He's one of those like silent killers, you know.
Huh?
You don't hear much about him, but he's really a good player.
People are sick of hearing me say it probably, but you know, he gets really close so often, and it's only a matter of time, I think, for him taking down a big one.
Well, it won't be this time.
Nope.
I got a flag update. Latvia.
Latvia.
It kind of looks like a kind of a burgundy version of Austria, but it is officially Latvia. Thanks very much for your attention. Right, I know you don't like me much, but can I swap you your glass of water precariously balanced next to my laptop for a brand new sealed bottle of even fresher water?
I would, sure. just because Joe took it from me, and I want him to have it. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, I know they say, you know, don't make life worse for yourself, but I thought I'm not going to be able to relax.
It just doesn't go much lower from here anyways, between us, so.
Exactly.
I actually, at any late night, like after partying that happens at my house, my one rule is always like, can you just not put your drink right next to my laptop? And I spend all night moving girls' drinks away from my computer, looking like a dad.
Are you all right with
Maybe
that?
you should stop watching porn while you're hanging out with a girl.
they all want music. They're like, can you put some music on?
The problem is it takes Joe 10 minutes to shut down all the porn that's already running in the background.
I have to do this. I have to go, don't look at my for 1 second. Sorry, I just didn't know you were coming over. Never expected to have a person here.
I mean, this is all like really funny in theory, but we obviously know that Joe never actually has people there.
That is correct. Oh, I mean, I have a very handsome friend who will sometimes bring a date back to my house because it's a fun place to after party.
It's like the simulation version, like in the alternate,
Yes.
the alternate simulation Joe. He's the exact same, but with a girlfriend. Actually, you have a girlfriend, don't you?
I do not.
Oh.
Not at the moment.
That's awkward. Sorry. We should probably do the catching up maybe off the stream.
Right. Nah, it's fine. I'm used to it. You know, Fatima loves calling me out on the stream.
I believe it. I believe that for sure. These people would play poker a little quicker. We could talk about something else other than Joe's love life. But
Yeah, and we're officially done talking about that. I mean, we've exhausted it. No, there was the time that I was talking, had a good flirtation going with a fairly famous, very attractive female poker player, and then Fatima was on stream, and I mentioned to Fatima that I was going to Holland, because you know I'm like, Fatima, you're from Holland. I'm going, and she's like, oh, who are you going with? And I was like, someone. She's like, who? And I'm like, someone, and she like grilled me on the air, and this player that I was talking to happened to be listening, and eventually Fatima got out of me that it was my ex-girlfriend that I was going with.
oh no.
And then she's like, so you're not together? I was like, no. And so Fatima on the air, I was like, so you're using her?
Wow.
And I was like, I don't really know what to say anymore. And then the girl I was talking to literally never spoke to her again. Like, I mean, like cordially, but the flirtation was over.
Wow.
Yep. Thanks, Fatima.
Thanks. Hashtag thanks Fatima.
You played some tennis this week. There was like a thing.
Hold on, let's talk about
Yeah, let's
poker
do
for a
the
second
hand.
because
Great. We have a hand.
yeah, there's
absolutely.
a hand.
I thought they were all folded.
Yeah, no, the big blind defended because it's 2017 and he has 2 cards. But actually, I don't know. He looks like maybe a qualifier, so maybe he has 2 cards that are somewhat close together or high.
see what I can find out about any of the people involved here.
So, Vanessa, that was a bit of a loaded statement there, what you just said. Let's talk poker for a second.
Okay, all right.
So when you say it's 2017, are you being sarcastic? Are you saying it's because we're so knowledgeable now, we know that we're supposed to be defending very wide?
That is what I was saying.
Okay.
Exactly, yes. All the regs, the trend in poker now is when you're in the big blind, you know, when someone min raises, you usually, you know, you see people defending like, you know, Jack 5 offsuit or, you know, King 2, or I mean really like 90% of their range because they have the right pot odds. You know, it's often you have to call 2,000, the pot's already like 10,000 with all the antes in the blind.
Right.
So people are defending a lot of cards that don't look like good hands, you know. But so when I made this comment about the qualifier, of course, a lot of people that are less experienced aren't comfortable playing those kinds of hands, and they more wait for premiums.
Yeah, I would fold Jack 5 suited. I mean, maybe not to offsuit. But that was a min plus raise, right? So that was, you know, the min raise would be 3,200. That was 3,500. Is there a big difference between those two
Not between
amounts?
32 and 3,500, no. I mean, we're talking about, you know, it's like 18% more of a big blind. So.
Do you remove one or two hands from your big blind defending range for those 300 chips, or is it?
That's probably right. If
Okay.
I were a computer, I would do that. But
Okay.
you know, yeah, exactly.
You're pretty close.
I was when I was younger. But
When you were young, you're still younger than me, and you always will be.
That's-
I just
I always-
realized.
I hope I always will be.
You'll never catch up.
I'll never catch up, but I might. You know. Well, anyway.
You could outlast me, that's for sure.
This, incidentally, is not a qualifier, I can tell you, by the way, Alexandru Papazian.
Okay.
I can tell you, I've got the dossier on him. He's from Romania.
You're Romania.
Any other questions? Good, because that's all I know about him. Right. I can tell you, incidentally, that when we went into that break, we grabbed hold of our friend Charlie Carell because, as you know, we're having a poll about the best hair, and he's last.
I think that's more than I would expect. My hair isn't something I particularly pride myself on. Igor just has like luscious locks, and just saw a picture of Sophia's hair, and it's just incredible. Yeah, I don't think that I deserve to be in the lineup. I think there should be a third.
And we see you at the end, you were trying to get a better look at Igor's hair there. Was that what that was about, or was it more to do with the hand?
No, I didn't know about the poll. I was not trying to look at the hair. I was trying to get a read on Igor. No, it's generally just something that Igor and I are pretty. We go into a lot is the live reads, and we like to try and get reads on each other.
But your hair is beautifully conditioned. Do you use a lot of product? Do you put a lot of time into it?
No, I come in with wet hair. I do this every now and again, and that's about it. It's like something that I like having long hair, but I don't do it for the appearance, as it might be quite obvious to tell. It is actually one of probably the thing that I get the most shit about ever. Just like the most common joke that follows me around whenever I win something or if I'm on like an interview or a podcast, just like 1,000 comments of people being like, this will be original. If he's won so much money, why can't he afford a haircut or a wardrobe or, you know, anything like that? But yeah, no, I'm not doing the hair thing for to win any kind of contest.
I feel like Charlie was incredibly aware of the fact that the camera was pushing in on him. Like you could see him getting more and more uncomfortable as the shot got closer.
Wow, and in fact, this is how the poll is going. We can see Charlie has really dropped now. My vote was for Sophia. Igor, I know, was James's favorite, and now it's a huge lead, 43%. We'll do a poll. Who thought we would give that much attention to the hair of one of the players from our former featured table? That'll be an interesting one to see.
That's your new poll?
That's my new poll. I'll be starting because that dazzled me. I can't believe we gave more than 7 seconds to that interview. Very creepy. Very creepy action from Pete down on the floor, incidentally.
I was thinking the same.
I think about 7 players got knocked out in some incredible hands during that interview. Check out the PokerStarsblog.com for that.
It was the one incident on record of Patrick Antonius going on tilt, but we were asking Charlie Carroll about conditioner.
He seems to have recovered quite well.
Yeah.
Back to.
It's very brief for him.
Yeah.
Alexandru on the button. No. Battle of the Blinds. Morton Watson.
Ran into Chubbly on the elevator.
Oh, no. There was another one, but I've forgotten who that was.
Dogra,
Dobre.
Dogra.
Dogra. Incidentally, in this lull in conversation between myself, Joe, and Vanessa, let me remind you at, well, actually, probably in about, I guess, 50 minutes' time, we are going to have the first bounty bonus. It's back. It is back for Monte Carlo, and you can play against myself, Joe, and James. Just going to put the word bonus into the search in the PokerStars lobby. I can see that 4,600 people registered. Don't forget, as well as the money already in the prize pool, there is $150 on all three of us, myself, Joe, and James. And it's a Zoom tournament, so you will get a fair chance of bumping into us. So sign up. Remember, you need to get involved with the Poker School Online. Go claim your tickets there. If you're not already a member, sign up. And there'll be one every single day of our 5 days of broadcast here from the championship main event.
If I could make a request, if
Yeah.
you knock me out of the bounty bonus tournament, don't write to me on Facebook 30 seconds later asking for your money.
Right, okay.
We'll get it to you. I promise. Has little to do with me at that point.
And also, just as a general guideline, if you have some really slim interaction with me, so maybe I like your tweet or I mention you, don't immediately send me a friend request on Facebook because I will ignore it.
I accept everyone.
Yeah, I don't accept anybody. So no offense to all the really nice people. You're not my friend. You're just an acquaintance.
So Papazian, you're Romania. Making it 4,000. Lunda defends his big blind with Jack 5 offsuit. Or not.
It is in the range. But actually, maybe not, because he did, I think, make a 2.5x here. Which does make a difference.
You eliminate one more hand.
Yeah, exactly. And you see this a lot now with Papazian checking back the flop here. I think delayed continuation betting is something that I've been seeing quite often, actually. And it's interesting because, you know, usually when people check twice, they end up just folding because, like, a lot of things have happened where in poker, like, I think the really good players are kind of checking back those high card boards more with, like, obviously with, you know, some showdown hands like small pairs or ace highs, but also with, you know, their misses like 7 high or whatever, just because they know it's become very common. People are, I don't know if you noticed, but, you know, all the trends kind of work intermittently together, but basically
Sure.
the people out of position are betting a lot wider for value, meaning, let's say the flop comes, you know, king 8-5. It used to be where, or not even king 8-5, that's not a great example, like 8-5-3, right? And someone goes check, check. And then the turn's like a 10. It used to be where, all right, well, let's talk about this hand here. So he's sort of representing that he either has a flush, a slow played jack, or maybe even just a king, like a king-queen. I think he's probably putting the big blind on an ace high or a middle pocket pair. You know, he could have a 6. I mean, it's just hard to, the king probably wouldn't bet this big, though, just because he could have a 6 so easily. So it's probably likely that he's, yeah, so he did have a queen, or a king, so he did just bet with a king.
I mean, it feels like these days that half pot or right around half pot is like just the standard. I think I have the best hand bet.
For a lot of people, yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, I mean, that's the situation where for sure, and I think, you know, he makes the call there. It used to be, you know, going back to what I was saying, it used to be where someone checks back and then they bet twice, and it's just like, okay, they probably had the thing like the king high, like the king or the pocket tens, which was, I'm sure were good in that situation as well.
Good hand.
Yeah, but, you know, I think what's been happening is as people, going back to the, like, the 10, 5, 3, 8, you know, people are betting out with, like, third pair there for value because people were calling with ace high all the time, you know? So it's like, if someone's going to call me with ace high and I have a pair of 10s or a pair of 8s in that situation, and even maybe a pair of 5s, I'm very happy to bet out and get called by
It's
ace
the same
high.
reason that you're checking your really bad hands, right? Because you're going to get called so often on the flop these days.
Or
It's
on
like-
the turn. Yeah, exactly. So exactly. So in turn, what happens is because people are betting so wide on the turn for value, when they check twice, they chose not to bet, their hands are usually very, very weak. So what that allows other people to do in position is you say, okay, I know that this person, they're going to check twice if they're very weak. I don't have to continuation bet the flop. I can just see if they check twice to me then I'm going to have a very cheap way to bluff at the pot because I know their range is like at best like bottom pair, ace high or something like that. And so that's kind of what's happened because as people bet wider and wider for value, you just need to give people, you know, the first check, like you raise pre-flop, the first check is automatic because they're expecting you to c-bet. So that's not even like a real check.
Right.
But then you give them the opportunity to make a decision in front of you on the turn, whether to check or bet. And when they check, that's such an informative check that you know that you're going to get, you know, you have so much more information to work with now, whereas if you bet just on the flop, you're very blind. They have their whole range. You don't know what's going on. And so the delayed c-bet has become a much more useful weapon, I think, because of just how wide people are betting for value, and I think it makes their checking range on the turn very unbalanced and very weak.
And position is just as important as ever.
Absolutely. I mean, position is always important for different reasons, but it's learning how to exploit the trends to take advantage. And so you're seeing a lot more kind of cheap bluffs. You know, people aren't really running, I don't know if you're noticing this, but people aren't really running 3-barrel bluffs nearly as often. It's more like, and it's smart because you want to play low variance in poker and tournaments. You want to take as little risk as possible. And so if you identify a situation, you know, the way I think about poker is I think about you have a game tree and you have like thousands of different possible decisions. And at any given time in the trends of poker, there are things that people in general, you know, the best players are doing everything well, and there are trends that people tend to copy each other. So there are things along in the game tree that people do very well sometimes, and there are trends that are very exploitable and very bad. And so you can see, like, if you picture like a tree that has different colors, and if it's like dark red, that means it's really bad. And so if you think about it, okay, most players play this one situation really, really badly. You think, okay, what are the actions in the tree that get me to that situation? And you take more of those. Like, that's kind of what I think about. I'm like, okay, people play turns when they're checked to or something, whatever it is, really badly. Let me put them in that situation more so I can profit more from that situation.
It's funny because you describe that, I'm like, how do I not get myself into that situation? But what you're thinking is, how do I put other people into that situation?
Yeah, well, it's definitely both. It's definitely both. But I'm less worried about not putting myself into that situation because I don't think people are. It's really the best players that are exploiting it. So if I'm playing against other really good players, I'm worried about not putting myself in that situation. And that's just what we call balancing ranges. I mean, that's just another way of saying we want to be balanced in our ranges. But the game tree, like the whole idea of it is because you can understand that people are unbalanced, but if you don't understand how to get to that situation, it's not really that helpful. It's helpful when you find yourself in that situation, but it's way more helpful if you can actually create that situation more often for yourself.
But this is also like once everyone has sort of figured out what the current trends are. Who are some players that you can name who are going to be the ones who are figuring out like what the next branches on the tree are that haven't been filled in yet?
I mean, I think it's really, it's sort of predictive. I mean, I think if you watch super high rollers or something, if you see people make a certain type of play, like inevitably 6 months later, you know, the majority of people will be making that same play, but like not as effectively, but like there'll be mimicking. Sure. There's a lot of mimicking that goes on. So it's sort of just staying ahead of the trends. And
do you think people know what they're mimicking when they mimic it, or they just know?
I think they try. They know somewhat. But I think it's like, you know, there are certain situations where like people would never bet. Okay, like that hand before where Davidi, the flop was King Jack 4 rainbow, and it was Papazian had checked to him. Mm-hmm. It was just on the live stream, and Davidi bet really small and Papazian folded. A year ago, when someone checked out of position on King Jack 4 rainbow, they were almost always calling, because they were continuation betting more, and usually when they checked, they had a jack, they were slow played king, maybe pocket eights, pocket nines, ace queen. They were always calling a bet, but now it's like if they continuation bet, it turned into a similar spot where people don't want a continuation bet in the dark, so they're check folding a lot more flops. Davidi recognizes that. He knows, you know, a lot of players, like, it's very standard to check behind because unless you have King Jack or fours or ace king or even King Queen maybe at minimum, usually, you know, you're gonna pot control or something like that. So it's very hard for Davidi to have a value hand in that situation. So it used to be where like that flop would go check check almost all the time. But I think Davidi is a very clever player. I think he's great at, he's actually less of a GTO, like less of a balanced kind of a player and more of an exploitative player. He's one of the best in the world where he sees what's happening and he exploits that. And I think he knows that's a situation in 2017. This guy's going to check fold a lot. So he says, well, you know, I don't know what he had, but I don't think it was very good. It was most likely not very good. But he knows it doesn't matter because this guy is not really going to get too out of line. And you know, this guy's probably going to check fold, so he risks 4,000 to take down.
His sizing's perfect for that sort of
exactly, and that's all based on trends, I think.
Sweet.
Wow, some serious knowledge there. I'm going to have to actually think about that one. That a lot of that. I like the tree thing. That makes a lot of sense to me. I need things to be visually understandable. I don't know why. It's just how my brain works. It's like I play music and stuff, and I have to be able to see it in a way that logs in my brain, and I like that.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's not about where you are. It's you got to work out how you got there, because
Well, who
then
doesn't
you can
skip to the
you can
pictures?
kind of cut it off. Or like you say, even better is to constantly put people into a spot you know that they hate, but they haven't realized how they keep finding themselves in that spot, so you can just keep nudging them down that branch.
Exactly.
They go, oh my God, I'm here again, facing this kind of a situation.
Exactly.
Very smart.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, in amongst the last few hands, we welcome a new table. Benoit Lamb has joined us. We swap a Frenchman for a Frenchman. We saw...
What is
our boy
this poor
Ben
man's
Pollock.
Ben Lamb? Come on. There's only one Ben Lamb in my book.
Also, an awesome tweet I just saw come out from Victoria Corin Mitchell that says, a poker player on another table is eating and having a massage at the same time. I'm tempted to hand him some nose clippers and a crossword. I mean, I like it. I don't entirely understand it.
I think just to have the total pamper
just
day.
exactly, just to completely like, yeah, mate. Don't worry about the poker. You're having a lovely time. Eating and having a massage at the same time, that can't be good for you on any level. Just leave you with that thought.
That would make me feel weird. I
Yeah.
feel weird enough sometimes I want to get a massage at my house and like watch TV while it's happening. I'm like, yeah, that's combining too many pleasures. Like I should just really separate those things.
I mean, the guys playing poker and getting a massage is one thing. It depends. When they're like getting a proper, like the head massage, and they're being properly thrown around, and they're in a hand, you think, have you any idea where you are?
Remember Illyri a couple years ago in Barcelona? He was getting that really sensual,
Yeah.
bald head stroke.
Went on for hours. Felt quite upset afterwards. This one, there's not a lot to tell. It was a raise initially from Papazian. Made it 3,600. Got the call from Davide. Also, Patrick came along for the ride. Everyone checked post-flop. Patrick has now opened the door here. It's a Queen 6 Deuce 8 board, 2 diamonds down, 14,000 up for grabs. You're up to date.
You know, he's going to make a big bet.
Yep. 9,500 into 14,000. We're gonna watch Patrick for a while, just because.
It really is.
There we go. They're like, well, we could show him or Patrick. Just cut to him right before he makes his move.
Zhang, another diamond on the river, the 5 of diamonds.
I'm scared to like predict hands because these days like some people have been playing so randomly that I can't. I would say that either Davide would give up, but on the diamond I don't know. But on the normally like I would think that if he makes another decent sized bet, he probably had a slow played queen, but or like a pocket 9s or pocket 10s sort of a hand. If he makes another decent sized bet, but on the diamond it's possible that he. I mean, you know, once he I don't know if he bluffs the diamond because I think expects that people would expect him to bet with a flush draw when it checked him on the flop and he checked behind. So I don't know. I think you're gonna see, and I think sometimes he's just stabbing on the turn to try to take it down. But this is one of the areas where when I'm not playing as much, it's like hard to know people's frequencies.
Also, he doesn't give up very often.
I don't know if that's entirely true.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in certain situations, like, but yeah, I think this is a situation where once the diamond comes in, plus the straight gets there as well. Although he flatted, you know, when he bets this size, he can have pocket 8s. He can have, I think he thinks like a queen is good. But there aren't that many value hands that he can really. I don't know. I don't know how thin he would value at this spot, but yeah, it's got to be a good queen plus. It's a tough spot, you know, for Papazian when he's got like pocket 7s or something like that, which is most likely pocket 9s, pocket 10s, something like that.
Well, we're gonna see him. It looks like.
So he did
That
check
is
back the nut flush.
The nut flush.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. I think it's a spot where I don't know that he would bluff because I think it's like he's gonna get looked up a lot there because I think he expects, like I said, I think he expects everyone to expect him to bet the flush draw, even though I think it's a perfectly reasonable time to check behind with a flush draw on the flop. I think it's actually a really nice spot to check behind. So, yeah, I do think that's a spot where he's going to get looked up a lot.
Well, it takes him to the top. Sorry, I was just going to say, takes him up to over 190,000 now. Average stack 94,000. I don't know if we've mentioned it. Remind you, we're at 800, 1,600 with a 200 ante.
So how do you spot that, Vanessa, to know when someone is playing something out of the ordinary? Because he's going to play it the normal way some of the time, too.
Yeah,
the way you would expect.
I think you just estimate ranges. You just say, okay, he would bet a flush draw. Like, people tend to underestimate how often people check back flush draws. So, like, I think Davide, and that's especially why he knew that he could get away with a bigger value bet there, was because he said, well, this guy is going to think that I would definitely check back my flush draws, or definitely bet my flush draws, and his true percentage might be, his ace-high flush draw is a better hand to check behind, his ace-10. So I think, his true frequency might be like 50-50. I don't know what it is, something like that. But people tend to just think in terms of absolutes. It's really hard. There are so many things, and poker's a really complicated game, and you're trying to estimate ranges. It's hard to do a weighted probability. You're sitting there, you have 20 seconds to think about a decision. You can't do a weighted probability for every single piece of the decision tree. So people, instead, what they tend to do is they think in absolutes, oh, he wouldn't do this, or he would do this. And so, when really you might bet it, let's say you bet it 70-30, that's a better example. Okay, but there's still 30% of the time that you actually have it. And so that's why Davide's able to bet bigger there, is because he's like, well, he's really going to think that I'm not, like I said, he doesn't have that many value hands. He can only, for value, he can only have a very good queen or better. He checked back the flop, so he doesn't have a set, most likely. So he's really representing, like, a slow played king, queen, ace, queen, pocket eights, or a rivered straight or flush. He probably doesn't flat call with 7-9 suited. So it's really a flush, a good queen, or pocket eights. And so, he's just like, oh, my range is very narrow for value. I can bet big and get called here. When in reality, that's why when you said Davide doesn't give up much, I disagreed with you, because I think in that spot, I think because he's representing such a narrow range, he knows opponents are good enough in 2017 to know that.
Okay.
I think he actually would give up in that spot a fair bit.
I mean, I'd rather say something be wrong and get great stuff out of you anyway. So I'm glad that you're like.
Well, I'm not saying that.
That's awesome. Like, it's kind of like the entire game of poker is like a much larger version of that Louis C.K. bit. Of course, but maybe. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Of course, he would bet his flush draw.
Right.
But maybe he's gonna check it back.
Exactly. There you go. That was a great reference. What was it like? Of course, we shouldn't like molest our children. Like what?
I mean, it could easily be one of the examples. Like,
I don't
there's
remember
like
what
one about
it was.
allergies, right? Like, of course we want to be
we don't
sensitive people with allergies,
right.
but maybe
they should all die. That's what it was. That's what it was. But maybe they should all be dead.
Yeah.
Maybe if you die when you eat a peanut, you're meant to die.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe,
Views are not our own, by the way.
Yeah.
Cultural reference.
Let us remind you what it is that they're fighting for now that we have the numbers confirmed. 727 players, a prize pool of over 3.5 million euros. 143rd spot is the first payout, 7,500 euros, and just over €500,000 at the top. I think I may have told you this before, Joe, I'm not sure. I used to edit a poker magazine, doesn't exist anymore, it's called Flush. And every month, the readers would vote for what filling they wanted Patrick Antonius's head to have. We would have a Patrick Antonius filling of the month, and my head of design would do like a little graphic of his head as if it was a jacket potato. And we go, this month, and it would just appear in news, this month's filling of the month, Patrick Antonius, tuna and sweet corn. And there'd just be this little Photoshop of Patrick Antonius made up as a jacket potato.
This magazine doesn't exist anymore, huh?
No.
Huh.
I took it over.
You don't say. This wasn't the hardcore poker content that the world was clamoring for.
Poker's fun, Joe. Yeah, I was trying to make it mainstream entertainment as well as poker. It was just a very small photo every month to keep me happy.
You know I'm on board.
Yeah.
With the corn and tuna.
And by the way, back to just one more thing on the hand, I think is interesting to note about like, I think that in general, in spots, like a good tip is when you're playing against someone good, and they know that they're not representing very many hands, and they bet big, they usually have it, which is counterintuitive. Like someone really good though, you have to be pretty sure they're really good, because I've made plenty of folds where I'm just like, this is such a bad bluff spot that they just like have to have it, and then they're just bluffing. So it can go the wrong way when you think about it. But you know, there's a lot of situations like that. You know, you're just like, oh man, there's like so few hands here. Doesn't make much sense. But not so few hands. Like when you know they can only have 1 or 2 hands, and you know you have to call. But when there's like 10 or 15 hands they could have, and it's unlikely. Usually I'm just like, well, it's unlikely, but it's like even less likely that they're bluffing. So.
I need more absolutes. I need. They always have it here. They never have it.
Yeah.
Always do this.
I know.
But maybe. Well, Patrick Antonius' head is about to be filled with a double espresso, Matt. I don't know if you heard that. They're just like us.
Just like normal people.
Yeah.
Only beautiful and rich.
Thanks, guys.
Well, you're one of them.
No, I know. It was a genuine thank you.
It's hard to tell these days.
I assumed you were talking about me when you said that.
Yeah, talking about the heroes.
I'm just happy to still be allowed to stay in the booth.
I know. I don't know what happened to that. Security is on break or something.
There was somebody that just did pop in and went, "Is there like bad blood between Matt and Vanessa?" Then I was like, I just liked it because I thought I could do with a bit of controversy, you know, just get my name out there. It all kicked off during the PokerStars Championship.
Yeah.
When Nemesis.
We could do like a grudge match, a heads-up grudge match on maybe PokerStars would stream it.
Exactly, and then they'd pay us to do like really cool things. We could like have a windsurfing, like, you know, kind of competition between. I don't know what we do. We can't do boxing or tennis.
Maybe poker, maybe.
Instantly, only 15 minutes. Oh, not poker. 15 minutes left to get involved in the bounty bonus. Remind you, we've got $500 in there to fight over, but more importantly, is $150 on me, Waster, $150 on Joe Stapleton, and $150 on J. Hartigan. It's a Zoom tournament, so you stand a good chance of getting involved with us. Don't forget, it's also a free buy. So as well as coming in using your registration to Poker School Online, if you are not a member, sign up. If you're already a member, go collect your tickets. Poker School Online is the place to go. You will find yourself in that game. If you can't find it in the lobby, just search for the word bonus, or just search for bounty bonus.
I'm really glad we went over that again because I had actually forgotten to register until that reminder.
Good. Make sure, yeah, you do register, boys and girls. As I say, right now we've got 5,153 entries going to start in just under 15 minutes. There is a 30-minute late reg available. Come play with us. There'll be one of these every single day. We are here for 5 days covering this main event, Monte Carlo. And of course, there'll also be the standard free rolls at 9:15 local time.
All right, just cool it for a second. They're about to spin the deal jackpot.
What?
Remember that thing I made you play last night with your stars coins?
Oh yeah.
If you do real good in that, you get to spin this wheel for a jackpot. And then if it hits the jackpot, you win half of the deal jackpot, and then everyone who is at your table. Oh no, what is it? Somebody gets half of it.
Why is this happening to you right now?
A thing pops up to ask if you want to watch them spin the wheel, and so I like to see people win big money.
See, I lost my internet connection just at that point. I feel
Plus,
like really...
play on PokerStars. Am I right? Huh? Huh? Play on PokerStars.
Yeah, PokerStars is great.
I love it.
I mean, PokerStars is great, but that wasn't. I mean, yeah, that's true. You can win. It just seemed like sarcastic again. I'm just on a different level. PokerStars is great.
It is both genuine and sarcastic at the same time. If that's a thing.
That's the beauty
it's
of being
sarcastic.
Meanwhile, Patrick Antonius, boys and girls, raised this to 4,200. Got the call from Morten Mortensen and Davide Katai. We had an ace-5-4, 2 diamond flop. Check, brought an 8,000 continuation from Patrick. Morten got out there. Davide still with us. And that's where we are.
I like Smitty gave me an idea here. He says, I hope you guys would maybe play your own bounties and not let Vanessa play for you, lol. You know, I wasn't thinking of that.
I need a piece.
No problem. How much do you want? Is 90% enough?
Is it like a free roll? Like, what's the bounty?
Well, my bounty's $150, but I'm pretty sure that even if I win, they're not going to let me keep it.
This is Patrick Antonius is double barreling here and putting Davidi and his range in a really difficult spot. Like even with a weak ace, this is just like a really bad spot. And Patrick just in general likes to size for value bigger, so I really wouldn't be surprised to see Davidi fold here. Obviously not knowing what he has, but like an ace 8 or an ace 9 or an ace 10. Yep, I don't know anything about poker.
It's impossible to guess these things, Mesa.
Yeah, but I mean, I would like a fold there with a weak ace, just because I don't know. Patrick doesn't seem to get out of line very often. And on the ace-high boards, it's like really, I mean, obviously there's 2 flush draws. You could have a lot of combo draws, but I don't even know that Patrick Antonius double barrels all his, you know, flush draw combos that often. Nope, yeah, I guess he was double barreling.
So Davidi's going to get a free showdown, and his pair of 4s is not good.
Okay.
Whew.
Yeah, so he did have a hand. Like, I think, you know, I'm surprised actually Patrick just had queen 9 of spades. I'm not surprised that he just had queen 9 of spades, but I'm actually, it's not surprising, but I think his frequency of barreling that is not like super high. But it's possible he's changed his game as well and just betting more.
That's what I was going to ask, is that, you know, we talk about how current trends and stuff, we don't see Patrick that much. Do we think that he is...
Yeah, I mean,
with the rest of the pack as far
for
as
sure,
trends go?
For sure. I mean, like a lot of, especially the older guys that are like, you know, probably just seeing, like, I don't think that's a great spot to double barrel. You know, I have this thing where I give people like too much credit sometimes. I don't think that's a great spot to double barrel because I think Davidi's gonna have a lot of just like ace. I don't know, like unless he folds an ace. I mean, that's like a leveling, or if he's folding an ace, and it's a great spot to double barrel. If he's not, it's not. But so because it's not like an amazing spot to double barrel because Davidi's gonna have a lot of pretty strong hands there. You know, you should really only be barreling your best draws, and queen 9 of spades is not one of your best draws. You only have the flush outs. So, you know, the backdoor draw though at the same time is good because if a diamond comes or a spade comes, you can bluff. But it's possible with Patrick, you know, he's like a lot of the older guys sort of see the way that it's going. They see people are betting more, they're betting big more, and they just kind of, you know, go for it. They don't really necessarily know all the spots where it's good or bad or whatever. And you know, you do see that more often where people are just kind of betting. So, yeah.
I mean, what about a good old-fashioned, like, I took a stab on the flop, but I just picked up more outs, so I'm going to bet again?
Yeah, I mean, that's for sure, like, how a lot of people think about, you know, but I'm trying to think about what does my opponent have also. And so in that spot, it's just like, Davidi called, you know, ace 5-4, it's not a lot of second pair. Like, when you're double barreling with a draw kind of a thing, you're trying to get someone off of, like, second pair or a worse draw themselves or something like that. And I think, you know, obviously there are some second pairs that he can fold there, but I think a larger portion of his range is going to be strong draws or aces or slow played hands, stuff like that. So it's just a tough proposition. You can definitely get them off of some hands, but, you know, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way you should be thinking about it, obviously. But I think for a lot of us, we're like, hey, like, it doesn't really matter what he has. Like, I'm just going to hit my spade, probably.
Right. But also, like, if you look at the sizing, too, like, when Patrick bets, like, the bigger, he bet 21 into 31. Yeah. He is really narrowing his value combos there, I think.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, there's, like, not that many value hands he can have and bet that amount.
Exactly. I mean, he could bet. You're allowed to bet whatever you want. It's no limit hold'em, but most likely, you know, like, probably,
right.
But maybe, you know.
Of course,
but maybe, right, exactly, yeah. Of course he wouldn't bet 21 into 31 with just ace 10, or, you know, but maybe. That's kind of the logic you go through in your head, too, like when you're in that spot and you have, like, ace 8 and you're trying to, you're bluff catching, and you're just like, well, of course. He wouldn't bet this big for value, so I'm probably good. But maybe, like, I've made some bad folds that way where I'm just like, of course I'm, you know, like I want to, you know, bluff catch and make a hero call with king high. I'm like, of course he wouldn't like bet third pair for value, but maybe, you know, and then I just fold, and they're like, yeah, I was bluffing. I was like, yeah, okay.
So we've got Patrick Antonius is under the gun raise facing a 3-bet. And it looks like he is sticking around. Like his perfect bone structure, he is going nowhere.
It wasn't even.
Doesn't really even make sense.
No, that's what I said. I was just looking for excuses to talk about it because that wasn't even like a pun or a joke, or it was just like a.
I only do this to balance my range, by the way, so that way when I want to talk about attractive females, I can go bop, bop, bop.
No, I did think about that, yeah.
Bop, bop, bop.
That's what I immediately thought of, by the way, when I first heard you make the statement. But I like it. It's important to balance ranges, for sure. And you're right, it's fair enough. But you have to have a 1-to-1 ratio. So you have to
It's
pick
pretty
a bunch.
close at this point.
Yeah?
I mean, well, I actually might be unbalanced because I'm more comfortable. I'll catch less flack for saying it about men.
Right. Yeah, I noticed the best hair pull was 2 guys and a girl.
Yeah.
It's really some counterculture stuff here.
I was kind of disappointed that I wasn't included in that because I've got some pretty stellar hair. It's my 3rd best feature.
By the way, I know you're on this prop bet to never wash your hair again. How many months in are you now?
I washed my hair about 2.5 weeks ago.
Ah, Joe!
Look it up. You don't have to wash your hair. If you don't use product.
Man, I've seen your hair on a daily basis. You definitely do need to wash your
They're
hair.
playing like a pretty big poker player.
Oh,
Thanks,
okay.
thanks, Vanessa.
Oh, poker.
Saved me.
Yeah. Yeah, Mortensen made the 3-bet. Came in with a continuation of that post-flop. Check after the 10 of diamonds, and now a 4th diamond. Screech to a halt. Wash your hair.
Vanessa, do you ever get super annoyed at a run out like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time. I get annoyed at the 10 of diamonds if I'm the 3-better because you can't really keep your bluffs going because you're representing so narrow at that point against good players. Like because you wouldn't bet your kings anymore really, so you can't really bet your like bluffs. So you just like have to have it. And it's like super annoying. But the 4th diamond is great if you're the 3-better because now he can have all the big diamonds.
And even when you do have it, you're not going to bet it all the time. So it's right.
Like
so
he should be bluffing here because Patrick is gonna have like not necessarily top full usually. Like sometimes he's gonna have like 9s with no diamond or 7s with no diamond, and so it's a great spot to bluff. And it's a great check. It's a great check from Patrick because he's gonna most likely you know, either has a big diamond or, you know, his range is like he's representing big cards. So when he 3-bets, so he's either got big cards that he's representing or he's got a suited connector. So if he's got a suited connector, he either had a flush in the turn and then he would have bet, or he has nothing still. So he either has nothing, and then if he had the big cards he was representing, it's the same thing. He either has a flush or he has a really bad hand. So Patrick knows he's going to get a bet from the flushes. He's going to get a bet from some of the bluffs, like the black ace king or whatever, and he's never going to get called by any of the hands that don't bet. Like his range is so polarized, so it's a great spot to check raise. Everybody played the hand well. I don't know what Mortensen had. I think I would have bluffed if I did not have a diamond there, but I would have lost a lot of chips and gotten shoved on and been sad.
How much worse is it to check and then sometimes have your opponent check behind than it is to just bet something really small?
But in that,
maybe get paid a little more often.
It depends in the situation, because in that situation right there, like you could make an argument that like black kings might like call a tiny bet. That's the only hand that you might get the tiniest amount from.
Yeah.
But like it would be a disaster to have a hand like aces with the ace of diamonds or something like that, or ace jack with the ace of diamonds or something like that. You know, or okay, forget black kings. If he has ace queen with the queen of diamonds, he might make a tight check back. So that might be the hand. That's probably the hand that you lose money from, is like ace queen with the queen of diamonds, something like that. But Patrick has so many middle pairs in his range, pocket 9s, pocket 10s, pocket 7s. Even queen of diamonds is usually going to bet when you check, because they're going to try to get value in case Patrick has a middle flush. So it's just such a disaster to get a hand that would bet themselves, probably bigger than your tiny bet will be,
right,
plus potentially call a check raise all in. So I think it would be a really bad spot to bet small and not just check there. Because, you know, you got to think about Patrick's range instead of the fact that he has top full. You know, he's going to have so many weak hands there, like pocket sixes, pocket sevens, pocket nines.
I think a lot of people will maybe have the thought to check there, and then when it gets checked behind, they're going to go, I should have just bet something small. But, you know, they're not thinking about it the same way that you explained it.
Yeah. I'm also not always right. This spot I'm definitely right. The other spot, like, I think that's a much more interesting spot with the queen nine of spades and stuff like that. That's a spot that I'm very open to discussing if it, like, with other people, if it's a good spot to double barrel or not, because, you know, yeah, I'm not really sure.
Of course, Vanessa is very confident about the queen nine of spades hand, but maybe there's another way to play it.
Exactly.
Well, the good news is that I get to stay, but we're going to let you go in a minute, Vanessa. Not for any reason other than I just think no one here really likes you. And they said, Matt, is there any chance that just you and Joe could do the next like 20 minutes?
Really quick before she goes though, what happened with tennis yesterday?
What do you mean? Oh, we did. Yeah, we did a tennis challenge. No one beat us. No.
It's you. It was you and Fatima.
Me and Fatima. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be just you.
No, it was me and Fatima. We played. It was only 2 people that came out because it was early in the morning after the PokerStars party.
Right.
But we won. We won. It was fun though. You know, got out there.
Did you smash the people who played? Was there even a good match?
I don't like to.
Oh, you don't want to. Okay.
I don't, you know,
it must have been a real murder then.
Blood.
I did not win by a lot. But yeah.
If I ask you, you can just say yes. If I go, did you destroy them? You just go, yeah.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, still waiting. If anybody else out there wants to take me on tennis.
I'm sure they will after that last conversation. Right. I'm sure people are like, oh, well, that sounds like really good fun.
Well, if you're a great tennis player,
I would really enjoy
play me.
getting destroyed by Vanessa at least one time.
Patrick would destroy me, but I'd love to play with him. Not just because he's, you know, ridiculously good looking, but
not right.
Just because he's a tennis player.
Of course, not because he's ridiculously good looking, but maybe a little bit because he is.
Maybe actually that's why he's a great tennis player, because people are so distracted. And so actually I would be, you know, at a much bigger advantage against him than other people.
It's like, you know, a blind person against Medusa. You know, they don't get frozen by those snakes in the hair.
Well, meanwhile, we'll release you back into the ocean. Do you want to stare at one more hand of poker? You are welcome to.
Oh, Patrick also, I saw him before the table, and I asked him if he had anything to tell everybody, and he just said for everybody to tell everybody that he senses everything and that he knows everything that's happening all the time. But I'm pretty sure that people already know that, so I'm not really, I don't know. I just,
that's not a tip, is it? I mean, that's just where we always thought he was anyway.
Exactly, so, but you know, I figured I should say it since I told him I would.
Okay, job done.
Anyway. All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa.
Thank you, Joe.
Sorry to be here.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. And Matt, it was fine.
Thanks ever so much.
All right.
Thanks. See you later. See you next time.
Man, you should see the rider she demands. We had to get the brown M&Ms. I'll only come. We had to get a whole new microphone built just for her. Replica of
hands-free.
Hands-free. Unbelievable. Good at cards, and then they just get all kind of carried away with themselves. Meanwhile,
speaking of good at cards, though, she is. Yeah. Just the thought process. I mean, easily one of the best thinkers in the game.
The thing is also, I find this with you know, we are very fortunate that when we get guests into the box, obviously, a lot of amazing players, but there is a difference between the guys that are amazing players and the guys that are able to articulate it. And then you take it to the next level, which is for you as an individual, what actually gets through to you, what makes sense to you as someone listening to it. Because
and she gets through to you.
She gets through to me only because she kind of speaks in a way that is like pictorial. And it sounds really stupid, but I come back to the comment I made when she was talking about the tree. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that I play against some people and they aren't very good in ... Like, so it might be, they don't know what to do when they've called a re-raise pre-flop and then I know they missed the flop. I know they hate that. But what I don't think about is what can I do to make sure that that happens to them a lot.
Right.
So what I need to do is think about it and go, if I know that they're not very good at that, what I need to do is make sure that I re-raise lighter in position pre-flop so they keep finding themselves in this spot, rather than just playing my hands as I would do. And then when I find myself in that situation against them, go, aha, I know they hate this. So I think that's what is always good for me with is someone, it's not just someone who's able to teach, but someone who just by accident happens to teach in a way that connects with me.
Sure. And also, you know, who's really, really brilliant at it.
Yeah, well, that helps quite a lot. But there you go. Francesca Gunn, good day to you. Regular viewer and contributor on #PokerStars TV on Twitter. Don't forget, say hello to us. Any questions for us? Also, just found herself on J.Hartigan's table. Don't forget myself, Waster, Joe Stapleton, and James Hartigan, J.Hartigan. $150 on our heads in the bounty bonus that has now kicked off. You have still got about, I think it's a 25-minute late reg still going on there. Good luck, have fun, win some monies.
So there's a secret, by the way. If you double rebuy at the beginning, you can start with 3K in chips.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I do.
Thanks for telling me that now.
I think you can still do it.
And that's 6,400.
Yeah,
Ka-ching.
you get 2,000 chips for like $1.
Man, I wish I'd known that a minute ago when I got it all in with jacks versus sixes. Oh my God, the guy's just hit trips against me. But the problem is, you can't win it yet because you have to wait until the rebuy period is over. Nice hand to you though, sir. I give props to FOKDMN.
Picking up the action of this hand, it was Mortensen raising under the gun. Papazian defends his big blind.
20,000.
There we go. Look at that. We got some action on the screen there. It goes check, bet, raise, and a big check raise. Year of Romania.
Again.
What do you mean again?
Oh, is this the first one?
It's the year of Romania.
Right, okay. I think I must have had a dream where it was previously in a different year, the year of Romania.
Nope, it's just the year of Romania.
Right. And also, this is the point in our broadcast where we like to apologize to the people trying to play poker with us that we're not really paying much attention to, and the people trying to watch us watching poker, which we're not really paying much attention to.
We're really being bad at two things instead of just one.
Yeah, because being bad at one thing is easy, as we prove time and time again. But to take that to the next level, not so easy.
So this is a massive check raise from Papazian, and to me, this is a lot of times gonna be like, why so serious? I mean, if you really have a great hand here, why are you more than 3xing in position?
But
He's
see-
out of position, excuse me.
see,
But
this
there's
is-
the all-in.
Yeah.
Cool.
See you
And a call. All right, well, we're going to
Papazian
see
is-
him.
yeah,
Jack
he's-
10. Is that right? Oh, it's
Good
a
luck,
flush
buddy.
draw for Mortensen, and 9-7. Well,
The thing is, you said it to Vanessa, sometimes people are just playing their cards because everyone's so busy thinking of how not to play the cards they have that if you just play the cards you have, sometimes that's going to be good enough.
yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous that you can end up like, you know, balancing your range by just playing legit what you've got every now and then. Strong, tag.
Mortensen, the player at risk.
11 ounce though. Eights or hearts to save the day now.
It's red, but it's not the right red.
And Mortensen is out of there. And Alexandru Papazian is now up to 175,000. Average stack right now, just a little over 97,000.
Mortensen is out. Aw.
Paul Walsh is also saying hello to us on Twitter. Hello to you,
Right,
sir.
yeah.
Good to have you all with us. As always, we appreciate your company.
Good game.
Stick around. Plenty of action to come over the next 5 days as we follow this main event
Thanks.
from here, day 2, right the way down to when we
Next
crown a champion here in Monte Carlo.
And you can see why Mortensen gets it all in there, you know, because I think a lot of the time he's going to think his opponent, I mean, man, even if you think your opponent's not very strong and they re-raise you that much, I mean, you don't really have anything yet. Like, you're not even beating a lot of their weak hands with Jack High. But, hey, you got the flush draw. Did he have the straight draw already? Yeah, he also had the gut shot straight draw. Too many outs, I guess, to let it go.
No. He shoved it in before the turn, didn't he? I think the turn brought him
yeah, with
but he'd already got the money in before the turn had come down.
right, but it was 7-9, so he had a gut shot straight draw at Jack 10, right?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
And hearts.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
Oh, it's 3,200. 674.
If I have a pair and a flush draw, then it's easy decision, because I think that some of the time my opponent's going to have absolutely nothing when they check raise that much. But you can see also, you know, 2 pair susceptible on that board. You think your opponent has an ace, there's a flush draw out there, so you play it pretty aggro. And this time you managed to dodge all those outs. Well done. Year of Romania.
Alan says, what do you guys recommend to build a $100 bankroll on PokerStars? I would say deposit $99. That's probably the first trick. And then play one hand of 51 and win that. And then you're welcome.
You may have more than $100 after that.
You might do. I mean, you might find that, in fact, you've exceeded your target. So tick that off the old bucket list. You're welcome.
I feel like what I would do is get a job working for PokerStars, like as a presenter or like some sort of representative, and then when they want you to play, they deposit $100 into your account.
Make sure it's in your contract that it's got to be $100. Yeah.
And then you play with that. So that's what I would do. Honestly, to answer your question, seriously, my friend, I don't think I'm the best. I'm not very qualified to answer this question anymore, because I used to say, play like a bunch of sit and goes. You know, but I think sit and goes are hard now, right?
Yeah, and it depends really whether you're just looking to try and make hard, cold cash as quickly as possible, or whether you're like interested in the game of poker, because spin and goes, you can get lucky on one of the big multipliers or one of those things. So if you're building up for pretty much nothing, I mean, first and foremost, make good use of this week, because this week you have got 5 days of us doing a free roll every single evening, 9:15 Central European summertime, and the bounty bonus. So there's lots of opportunities to get well above what you really deserve out of 5 days of playing games. We've also got tickets to give away. Don't forget, right now we've still got our scoop competition going on. If anybody wants to try and get involved in a scoop spin and go, win one hand, not a whole game, just one hand with a pair, you can boom or get the ID and the screenshot into PSC win, hashtag PSC win. And don't forget, during the rest of this week, we're no doubt going to do some little ad hoc competitions as well and give you guys bits and bobs. So there's lots of ways to build up. You've just got to be prepared to put some time behind it, play some free rolls, play some of our little games with us.
And speaking of Scoop, last night me and Matt played Scoop event number 1. If you want to find out how we fared in that, be sure to listen and or watch to this week's podcast.
It's fine.
Listen to and or watch this week's podcast, Poker in the Ears. It is yet to be recorded, but when it is, we will be covering Scoop event number 1. And Matt and I had a grand old time playing last night in my room.
Oh boy. We lived the dream. We were there. We can look back and say we were there, event number 1. That extra week when everyone got to play more poker than they deserved, we were there. People are saying free rolls are hard now. Yeah, free rolls have always been hard because people don't take them seriously. Some people take them really seriously. You've got huge fields, but it's free money. And it's like the dream, isn't it, is to come from nothing, never deposit. I mean, I think these days there are better ways of doing it because of the fast format games like the spin and goes.
My trick to free rolls, which I've never won, but my trick.
Hang on, right, okay.
Is you play just as dumb as everybody else in the beginning and try to get lucky. And then if you lose, you're like, whatever, I wasn't trying that hard, and I'm out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then you run up a stack, then you can take it a little seriously later, like once you have chips.
By the way, incidentally, we're talking about free rolls. People are getting a bit excited. We haven't talked to you yet about how you get involved, because right now our focus is on the bounty bonus that still has 17 minutes of late reg. So I suggest right now you get involved in that. Incidentally, 10 years ago and now, I mean, that is aging pretty well.
I mean, honestly, the only difference there is one's in high def and the other isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is if in 10 years' time the only thing that lets you know there's a photo of me and you, it ain't going to be about the aspect ratio. You know what I mean? It really... I mean, if either of us is still here in 10 years' time to be, you know, fondly remembered.
I'll take the under.
Well, if Vanessa has her way, I probably won't be back this year.
5,200. 7 Sit open on 9.
Did we lose a player? What happened? Did we miss something?
It's probably still a reaction to Morten Mortensen.
Oh, they had to say it twice.
Yeah. Because of his name. "16 minutes of late reg." Sorry to keep going on about it, but it's too good to miss. Bounty, bounty, bounty.
Did I ever tell you about my idea for the character, the poker character named Late Reg? And he's like, sorry, guys. Sorry I'm late. I'm here. I just made it. Well, Reg. Come on, Reg. Always late.
I like it, Joe. I can think of 30 other people that won't. Just here in this room.
30.
Just here in this room, but I like it. Oh, wow. Wow. Our qualifier, Andre Malkukov's biting back at Patrick Antonius. That's going to feel pretty good. Take one of the big names. Just one little pot. That's all you need sometimes.
Yes, I wanted to address this tweet from Sebastian,
Why not?
who says, isn't it interesting that Katai and Antonius are the two big dogs are going at it all the time? Why not concentrate on the others? I think that may have been a small sample size.
Yeah.
Because I haven't noticed the same thing you have. There might have been two hands like sort of close together that they played, but if you can see that it really hasn't been an issue. But you know, let's see, a button is here, blah, blah, blah. You know, they're a couple seats away from each other, so when Katai is in late position, it'll be Patrick's big blind some of the time. Every once in a while. So that could be one reason why. I think when Davidi's in the hijack. Let's see here. 1, 2. Yeah, when Davidi's in the cutoff, it'll be Patrick's big blind, and that's a likely position to raise from, and we know big blinds don't really fold these days.
This particular hand, Martin Lund has raised under the gun +1. A call from Hideki Takafuji, who's not really got at all involved since we came to this. We're nearly at the end of this level and not really been particularly prominent in the action. Papazian, not so the case. He has been very heavily involved so far this level.
Ace, 5, 4, 2 hearts.
Check from Alexandru. Round to Martin, who was the original pre-flop aggressor. Somebody suggesting that beard doesn't fit him at all. Well, I mean, you don't choose your beard, it just comes out of your face. I mean, obviously there's oils and combs, but... 5,200, the call from Hideki.
This pot's getting big.
Alexandru from Romania.
10, call.
Let's it go.
2 plus.
Man, I forgot how hard it is to multitask when you're in a Zoom tournament. There's just no time off whatsoever.
Sometimes you gotta delay your folds a little bit.
Five of clubs.
4 check.
Still looking to Martin Lund to drive this, but he has checked. Takafuji on the button.
7 check.
And now a 3 of spades on the end.
4 check.
Wheelie.
Wheel.
7 check. Cards, please. First.
Can we talk about, it goes check, check on the river. 9 and 10 is going to be a 10 high, and a jack 10 with a missed flush draw is going to be good for jack high. Can we talk about avatars on PokerStars? Your little, is that what you call it? Your little picture there?
Yeah, you look avatar.
Little player photo. I'm already not a fan of people using their babies,
yep.
or their children,
Yeah.
but you know what really baffles me? Ugly babies. Like, some of these babies are just, I don't know if they're special or what, but I'm like, why would you ever? I mean, maybe it's ironic. Maybe it's not even their baby, but they're like, oh, this is a really ugly baby, I think is funny. But geez, people, come on. Have some self-awareness.
Yeah. The thing is, what I've learned in life is there are a few things that you just cannot comment on, and one of them is people's babies.
You know, that's why I'm doing it.
Ironically,
Well, to the world
yeah.
at large. Like, I'm not specifically calling someone out,
And-
Alexander Pro 6, for having a really disgusting looking baby.
And that's the beauty of it, is because also if you say, do you know what, some people have ugly babies, all the people with ugly babies are going, oh my God, yeah, I mean,
know
our
2
baby,
or 3
our
ugly
baby,
babies,
our
yeah.
baby's gorgeous. But yes, there are some people, because everyone thinks their baby is gorgeous. I just shout, if somebody tries to show me a picture of their kid, they go, hey, let me show you a picture. I just go, ah! As
No
soon
matter
as they
what.
show me it, whatever happens. They never do that again, I can tell you. Right, meanwhile, our team on the floor have found some fantastic fashions, because sometimes one hat is simply not enough.
The double hat.
That's fantastic. Some other super. All right, Bootsy Collins in the house. Fantastic glasses. Well done, sir.
Elton John called. He wants his eyewear back.
Man, Tom Hall has been spending way too much time with Paul Newey, is all I'm going to say there.
Looks like a kaleidoscope exploded on his shirt.
I mean, moustache, scarf, gilet.
Tattoos.
I mean, that's just crazy. Wow! Good
There
Lord.
he is.
Hey!
Gary.
it's Gary! Igor Yaroshevsky. Remember thinking he was going to win it and did not.
Yeah, I like the jacket, but do you have one that looks more like wallpaper from a 1970s Miami's dentist office?
Let me just look in the back. So, yes, yes, yes.
10. Raise 4,600. Fifteen.
10 minutes left for late reg. Incidentally, if you want to come and claim, there is $450 just in bounties. Never mind the money actually in the prize pool.
I've eliminated several people already from this tournament. How many have you eliminated?
1.
Yes.
James must be out already, or he'd be asking us how many chips we have.
Yeah, you know when Hartigan's doing well or something. How are you? How many wives have you got, Joe? None. Oh, I've got one. Yeah, I've got one.
I've just got the
Yeah,
one
married.
still, but
Yeah. Kids? No, yeah, I have. Yeah.
got one of those too.
House? You got a house? Oh, yeah, I've got a house. This was raised up by Alexandru on the button. Got the call from Martin. We're going to go first names on this particular orbit.
I like it.
3,900.
Only one of them is repping the year of Romania, however.
Yeah, well, you can't have everything. We're off to a turn. We've got King, 10, 5, 4. 2 spades, 2 clubs. 20,100 in the middle. Check, check. A deuce on the river. It's all kind of fizzled out. Somebody's got to win this. That much I guarantee. Yeah, and it is not going to be Alexandru. Worth revisiting the chip count on this feature table, incidentally. Patrick still top of the table, 234,800. Represents 117 bigs. Alexandru Papazian is second with 159,000. Davide Katai, 157, because we have now ticked over into the next level. You can see we are at 1,000, 2,000 with a 300 ante. The short stack is Benoit Lamb, excuse me.
Benoit Lamb.
Benoit. And everyone else kind of okay. Martin going to have to worry about what happens if he doesn't get to the end of this level with an improved stack.
I run so hot in these bounty bonus tournaments. I've like flop top pair every time. If I call it suited connectors, I'll flop a straight half the time.
4,474.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
4,400. 4,400.
Under the gun raise from Patrick Antonius. 4,400 with the aforementioned increased blinds.
Raise 12,000.
Okay, so now we're going to see a situation.
We're going to see a situation. I
Well, I
like
was
it.
looking for the Katai Antonia situation again, but we may not get there.
Yeah.
Antonius may very well remove himself from this hand should the action get back around to him.
Please raise 30,000.
Ooh.
4,500. 6,000.
Davide is coming in with the 4-bet to 30,000. That's cleared the table off somewhat. Just our boy representing the year of Romania, Alexandru Papazian. I'm going to suggest that Alexandru Papazian has a very swingy game. A lot of variance. Seems to be involved in more than his fair share of hands.
Happens all the time in the year of Romania.
Well, that's the only way to get there. By swing. Someone did mention earlier on that Alexandra has the look of someone in witness protection.
Well, they said a woman at witness protection, which
Well,
I found pretty funny.
We've got to jump to our featured secondary table because we have some action a-brewing between Liv Brie. Oh, this isn't our, excuse me, this is just one of the outer tables. It's not our second feature table. And this is Liv up against Emil Patel. We've already got the full board has been delivered. It is a 9-deuce-6-8-7. Liv has bet 21,000.
Two absolute heroes involved here. Emil, very, very accomplished poker player. Will this bet get through, or will he be the wall?
We don't need no education. Ooh, Boomla.
That is a raise.
That is a bit, that's a 70,000 raise. Liv has given up, and I can tell you that in that first level after the break, she has lost about 100K. She was second in chips, I believe, if memory serves, when we came back.
Looks like she is just now realizing that.
Ugh.
Whoops.
Say it's check. I check.
Back to our main featured table. Makelkovs made it 4,500. Called by Antonius and went check on the flop. Looks like Antonius is ready to take over as the aggressor.
That's 6,500.
Bets nearly exactly half pot.
8 call.
Huh? What?
Makelkovs.
You say it 3 times, he will appear and put
Yeah.
ice cream in your ears. Wow,
6 with ace.
that big 6. Oh, gotta have a kicker. Gotta have a kicker. Simple as that.
If you're gonna live in the butcher shop, I'm gonna treat you like a piece of meat.
And Andrei Makelkovs now very comfortable with 87,300. Benoit Lamb still the short stack here, and Martin just ahead of him, 25 bigs for him. 17 bigs for Benoit.
Look at Davidina's cute little smile.
Davidy's having a wickedy time.
So Pavel in chat on this free roll says, or the bounty bonus tournament says that time to get 500. Well, sir, if you're referring to me, well, maybe in whatever currency you're from, $150 is worth 500. But also, still the rebuy period.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 500 guarantee, but that isn't just all for one player. We don't guarantee that all for one player.
And if I could continue going through the reasons why you're wrong, you didn't have me covered.
Right.
It's still the rebuy period.
Yeah.
And you can't bust me if I fold. Thank you. Thank you.
3 for 3 really on
Thank-
the...
Thank you for your comment.
47. 4,007.
Ain't gonna work.
Good times. 4,700 from Davide.
Sorry, did I hear
1674.
all in? I did. Lunda, all in.
Yeah. Second shortest stack on the table.
No, Mr. Lundegard. I did not want that undercoating.
Easy when they fold, isn't it? No sweat. Get some chips.
Thank you.
Let's have a quick reminder of how things are. Slight changes. Jeffrey Hakim, for the first time, no longer solo leader. Got to share that top spot with Leonardo Villela, Manning Losa, and Christopher Frank representing Germany in 3rd and 4th spot. And there is Patrick Antonius, 217,500 on our feature table right now.
Yeah.
I got some bad news for you, Joe.
What?
You know our good friend Kurganov, Igor, out. Krista Volgasang took him down. Oh my God, more bad news. Charlie Correll also out.
Oh, that is bad
Some
news.
of our flamboyant friends from earlier on, they gone.
I like that kid.
Igor, taken down by his good friend.
8 call.
There's no friends at the poker table, Joe.
2 place. Eight check.
Benoit getting involved here, raised it up, got the call. It's now slowed down. We get a Queen of Diamonds for free. 12,100 in the pot.
Well, my first double rebuy.
Budget Christmas. A7. Better jets.
And it looks like Benoit is good enough. Didn't like the way board ran out, and quite understandably so.
Yeah.
It's a horror show. Well, he's improved, but is not out of the woods. Meanwhile, we are heading to another of the outer tables, just as I get a really good hand.
The Merce Dog.
Now, he has just chucked out 23,500 here, and he is up against Tom Hall, who I believe we have just heard call.
That's pretty big pre-flop. 23,500.
Yeah,
Jeez.
that's unusual. 10-6-5.
But
Something around 12,000 does the job.
Looks like it was only 18K pre-flop,
Right, okay.
not 23. Still big pre-flop though.
Alexander.
The Merce Dog. I miss seeing Jason.
Well, there he was. It was on your screen right now.
I mean, before that.
What, like in the minutes before we didn't go and look at him?
Like, I feel like I haven't seen Jason play a hand on one of our tables in a long time.
Oh, really?
He wasn't in Panama, was he?
No, I think you're right. This one is a race from Benoit. All of a sudden, he is in the action.
I got chips now. Deal with it.
Papazian is going to defend his big blind. Jack, deuce, 8, rainbow, and okay. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't even realize that Patrick was still in the hand. Apologies. I've been told by Little Bird that he'd folded. That was a test, and I failed.
You lose.
I understand now why you lose, but I could never do it. Being asked if we're in the money. No, we are not in the money. 208 people left. We've got to get down to 143 before we start handing out the cash. 7,580 euros is the min pay.
Have we announced the arrival of that player?
What, Salvatore Candido?
Yeah.
No.
I guess that was it.
Repping the Swiss flag. Nice international spread here.
6 days, 5,000.
Latvia, Romania, Japan, some Scandies.
10 point. One point.
Raise and take it, Patrick Antonius.
Hello to Tony Turner Alvarez. Always nice to hear from you. Asking if Lee Jones will be on to sing later on. Yep. Yeah, he's going to come and blow the entire season's budget on royalties by singing some of his favorite songs that, one, aren't really worth the money, and two, you don't want to hear.
What's my phone? 6 phone. 7 phone. 8 phone.
This is going to be a small blind attack here. Blind on blind. Papazian and our new friend Candido.
All right.
Digging the denim.
Nope.
Ain't gonna work.
Canadian dress shirt.
No Canadians here, I noticed, so far on our table. It's a shame.
How'd you notice?
Well, just by the flags. I just meant, no, I don't mean here in Monte Carlo. I just meant in general, that we've not bumped into any Canadians.
Not yet, but we will.
Gonna happen.
That's right, everyone. It's going to happen. At which point,
You're gonna do that thing.
we're going to learn a little history.
984. Rainbow.
Stand up. 5,000. 3,000.
Oh, sometimes the simplest poker wins. A raise, a continuation takes the pot.
Your surname. Oh, we have two. So which one?
Hope you're having fun in the bounty bonus. Don't forget, if you have already played and are out, you can always join us for the free roll later on. Haven't announced how to get involved yet, but we will talk about that later. It will happen much later on. It will happen at 9:15. Central European Summertime. Sest, as I believe it's pronounced.
7,000. 8,000.
Raise.
I am beginning to wonder if this guy really is from Romania or not. He does appear to be suspiciously in disguise.
You know what it reminds me of? Do you remember the film Sleeping with the Enemy? Julia Roberts,
Yeah.
Patrick Berger, and she sneaks in to see her old mother who's in hospital. And the guy who's the drama teacher glues the most unconvincing beard and moustache onto Julia Roberts that you've ever imagined her wearing.
That was back when movies didn't they didn't really have to have much of a story.
No, just like a tiny bit of a story, and then just sort of have some fun around it and dress up.
And then an ending.
Man, they were simpler times.
This lady runs away from her husband and then he finds her.
This is my first.
Thrilling.
What do you think?
Last night.
I like it.
Sold. Who's in it? Julia Roberts. I love it.
See, I imagine they just opened with that. So we're thinking
Right.
Julia Roberts. I love it. Do you have a story as well? Yes. Well, that's a bonus. Because I was just going to say, yes, let's make it.
Do you remember that movie, The Player, where they keep pitching movies and every single person who pitches their movie pitches it as starring Bruce Willis and Julia Roberts?
Yeah. Meanwhile, poker.
Is there?
Mm-hmm. How many chips you got, Joe?
I've rebought like 6 times. So I have just under starting stack.
4,500.
Right. Okay. Good job.
Once I take that one really bad beat, then it's over. Now, Matt, you witnessed this last night. Now, we won't talk about results, but you did witness me getting it as an 80% favorite multiple times.
Yeah.
Whatever they need, they get. And that's what happened. I had about 8,000 in chips, and I got into a massive pot 2-pair against an overpair. And they hit their card. Not an overpair. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter. Bad beats. Who cares? Moving on. Poker. Malcolm Cobbs made it 4,500. Called by Lamb. Malcolm Cobbs continuing for 5,000.
That'll do it. I don't know how you do it, Joe. Joe has this magnetism, just like a really, really attractive woman, just like walked in the room, just like, of course she knew Joe. Just like, of course she knew Joe. Just smiled at Joe, just sat down next to him. And Joe just doesn't acknowledge it, just soaks up.
I mean, I acknowledge it.
Just enjoys the ambient warmth and closeness of a pretty woman.
She is a dish. Oh, do you have work to do? Is that okay?
And then that's it. It doesn't happen to me. People come to me and they've got bins and they collect the rubbish.
Well, they specifically asked that you leave the
They
area.
ask that I not be here if they come on. I guess that's how it works for Joe, is I'm the other side of the scales. Is for Joe to do what he does, it needs for someone like me to do what I do.
There's got to, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
Matthew.
So for every attractive woman that's sitting next to you, I get an apple. So I've got a really plump apple on the desk right now. So I guess as soon as they gave me this apple, I should have known that a very attractive woman would be in shortly to sit next to you.
By the end of the day, the week, you'll have an entire orchard.
Yeah, and you will have had the best week of your life.
Several rounds of antibiotics.
Patrick Antonius staying at the top of our table, 231,100, and just a short while ago featuring in the top 5 players across the 208 remaining players here in this main event. Day 2, remind you we're here all the way through until Friday's final table, when we will crown someone a champion here at the PokerStars Championship Monte Carlo.
Look, somebody's got Scary Gary as their avatar.
Oh,
Was that his name,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
You can run, but you can't hide. Rich.
I've got a great Rick and Morty t-shirt. You know, I bought you one. I bought myself one, a different one. I might save it for the podcast record.
Cool.
I think you'll like it.
Blips and chits. That's the one you got me.
That was it. Yeah, Fear and Loathing. Yeah, that's good. That was a good one. Davide is at it again. 4,700 from the hijack. Just the blinds to get through. Patrick is out. Takafuji is going to defend on the big. I feel dreadful when I look down at my game and all I see is in the chat box is like 6 instances of waster, it's your turn. I'm so sorry. Anyone that gets stuck on my table, I'm trying to do my best to give you some attention. So the blind defense and now check to the aggressor on an ace-7-5 ball, 2 diamonds in town.
Another ace on the turn. Raise. Fold. Check that call. Ace.
So if I give you this apple, do like pretty girls come and sit next
See
to
what
me?
happens.
All
I
right.
better take a bite out of it so it's really mine.
Keep it. No, that's mine. That's actually from my lunch. Give it back.
Well, that's why it's not going to work.
Oh, I see. So even though I handed it to you, because deep down I wasn't really giving it to you, no pretty lady.
I never took possession of it. Now, I was going to say, I think it goes check, check here a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout. A queen of spades for the river.
Good time to slow down. If you got the ace, it's really hard for your opponent to have something to call you with. If you don't, good time to just check it back.
Now, 15,000 into 22-4.
There we go. Now we heard from him.
Yeah, true to form. Sing when you're winning. Mr. James Hartigan has revealed that he is currently 4th out of the 1,167 players in the bonus bounty. Bounty bonus. The BB. Oh, I'm being asked if we can answer a question, please. Yes, we will try. We are multi-tabling well beyond our abilities, but try. Hit me up, Catty. What's your question?
It was a question asking if we could answer a question.
So what's the answer?
Yes. Thank you for your question.
Job done. David is really going to town on this decision.
It's like Takafuji's gonna burst out laughing.
The old ace queen, he's going to just explode any second now.
I don't want to say anything, but
Pay me off. Pay me. It turns out I did see Katie's question. It's just it was something I considered not worthy of answering. I do
oh,
apologize.
so the answer is no. We cannot answer your question. Thank you for your
Yeah.
question.
Sorry, Katie. Can't answer that one for you. Wow. Over 2 minutes thinking about this one. I mean, let's be honest, Takafuji has not done much.
It's situations like this that I say that Davide doesn't give up too easily.
Yeah. Yeah, even though what's her name who doesn't like me, never going to agree with you on that one.
And she's probably right, but I'm just saying this is why there's the call from Katai.
Full house.
Fives, flops a set of fives, turns the boat.
Kaping.
Now it's okay if you want to laugh.
Nice answer.
Once you're ready, can I-
Flop much? Well, we're having a lovely time here in Monte Carlo, but there are other places to go as 2017 continues. Why don't we take a look at Sochi, boys and girls?